What's up, YouTube creators here? In this video, real quick, we're gonna show you how to lower the front of a end of a C4 Corvette. And I've noticed online, everyone says if you want to lower a C4, you have to get coilovers. Which, yes, it is the easiest way to lower it and have adjustable height, but it is also the most expensive. It's about $2,000 for the coilover kit, and you have to do some minor modifications. But anyway, here's the cheap way of doing it. And believe it or not, they can go really low just on stock suspension. Now this is not it's not what's called a temporary modification, because once you do this, you're pretty much modifying a part, and you can't really revert back to how it was before. So anyway, I've shown before how to lower the back end, which is just getting longer bolts on the spring. So about an inch or two. So once you get those, you can go pretty low on the back. Now for the front, it's a little bit, well, a whole lot more complicated. So the way you do it, how to take off the leaf spring on front. I'm gonna show you just because it took me forever the first time I did it, but now since I know it doesn't take that long. Anyway, take the what's it called, this bolt off, which is for the what's it called now, I forget it, we'll get back to that. And when you take the castle nut off of the lower ball joint, you take the bolts that hold the shock in place. These two, I think they're 15 millimeter. This 21 millimeter, I believe. And of course, it has a cotter pin. You take that out, take the castle nut out. This one for the fucking torsion bar, man, I forgot what it's called. Anyway, for this thing, you take that bolt out right here. It's easier to take the bottom one out, because then if you take the top one out, this thing is hanging there. It makes it more difficult to get the spring out. Anyway, so that's that. Then you reach under here, and there's the bolts right here. I believe those are also 15 millimeter, and this one's for the shock are 13, I believe. Anyway, once you take those 50 millimeter nuts off, which are these right here, these are what hold this U-clamp right here. That is what in the end holds up the shock right here. Let me see if I can hold it. This clamp right there. See if we can fit like that. So the way to lower it is the correct way. You buy the lowering shims right here. This are, see how small they are? These are the stock ones that are glued to the actual spring right there. So what you do, we're gonna do here, cut these off, 1, 2, right there. Make sure to not damage the actual leaf spring, because it's like composite or fiberglass or something, composite. And when you cut that off, you kind of sand it down so you get more abrasive, a little bit of roughness. And then you get your glue, which this one doesn't come with, because I'm gonna have to go buy right now. Automotive glue, I'm not too sure, any specific brands. You glue that on there in place of these. That right there, that brings it down about a little bit over half an inch. Which you think, oh, well, that's not a lot, it's gonna look the same. Well, yeah, you're right, it's not a lot, but it does make a difference. Next thing you can do, again, this is modifications that don't really, if you do this, you can't really go back to. You cut the end of the bushing right here that goes on the control arm right here, lower control arm. That also lowers the car more. And next thing you know, this one is pretty tall. They're about a 3/4 of an inch. So you get about let's say an inch and a half total, and which that, believe it or not, makes it so that the tire scrapes the inside. So those people telling you, man, you can't lower a C4 unless you have coilovers. You can slam a C4 in stock suspension. Yes, of course, coilovers ride better because you have, you're not doing this type of modification. You also have new shocks with the coilover. So after I do this, you stick it. I'm gonna let it dry overnight. I'm gonna make sure this all cut right here, the ends. Put it back on, bolt it back up. But also remember, the spring is it has so much preload on it. So once you take the ball joints off, make sure you're not sitting under that. It's gonna shoot it down on you. Anyway, after you do that, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so later on, I'm already ordered tie rods, but I'm waiting for the bump steer kit bear to put on this, and then I'm gonna get the QA1 what's a dual adjustable shocks later on. But I'm still gotta wait for this and for the shocks to come in, which are about $1,000, which I think that'll do, just so that car doesn't. I'm gonna make it real stiff so it doesn't bottom out and hit the actual hood, which is also the fender on this thing. But remember, you don't have to take all this part. That bolt for the control arm, controller. Take that one out. For the shock, this castle nut, and then you have to lift it. Was it a good 2 feet? But you don't have, people say you gotta lift it like 7 feet in there. No, if you have a lifter, obviously it's way easier. But if you don't, you have to go about 2 feet, and then you just wiggle it out. And when it's in, because it's like this, so you have to lift it higher. Once you get to this point, it's far enough out, you can just flip it and pull it right out. Anyway, let me get to doing this, and I'll show you the final result. The back end is already slammed, so I'm just gotta do this. It might take a while, but anyway, that's how you lower that C4 Corvette. Cheap. These things, I don't know how much, probably $10, and the back bolts are like $15. You do want to get the automotive bolts. You don't want to just go to Home Depot and buy a longer bolt, because they'll just break. Anyway, after you do that, I'll show you in the end. Peace.